And we are live. Yet again, Stevie V joins us on the Call for Fire this week in gaming. Uh,
Howdy,
s-
howdy.
how's it going, Stevie? How's things been, bud?
It is good. Things have been good. Getting colder, but things are well, very, very well. How about you, sir?
Things are good. I have a crazy toddler, so sleep is hard to come by, but we're living through it. We're getting through it.
What is sleep?
Yeah,
What
what
is
is
that
sleep?
even?
What does it even
What
mean?
is what
Why?
is what is this thing you speak of?
Yeah, life is just a dream, anyways. It's fine. So this week we're
Simulation.
gonna get into it a little bit. Battlefield 2042. We've been waiting on it for a hot minute, um,
Oh yeah.
and it's been out for a little bit. It's been going. It's been a thing. It's not been without some criticisms that are probably very warranted. I think a little bit of crazy meme culture going nuts on it, but we're here to give
Yeah.
a more honest uh, look at what we think is working, we think isn't, and where we think it actually should land in the grand scheme of gaming at the moment, and where it's at as a persistent live service game that looks like it's going to live uh, in for the next couple of years. So, but before we get into all of that, Stevie, what have you been playing lately?
So I have been doing a lot of the Tarkovs. There is a wipe coming for that soon, and I'm trying to get in as much time of that as possible.
Hmm.
Especially with the new wipe coming out, they're going to be releasing Lighthouse with this next update, a couple new things as well. So the usual. If you watch my channel, you know that's the usual. But I've also been putting a lot of time in with a game that not a lot of people are familiar with. I think only a handful really are, just from seeing it back in the day, and Battlefield fans especially will recognize it. But World War III, I have been playing a lot of that. That was a game that came out a couple of years ago. It was one of those early access development games, and it got a lot of traction. If you look back, there's YouTube videos that go back like 3 years on it, and they have a lot of views, and people were all about it. And then the game just kind of stopped
Mm.
out of nowhere, and there were a lot of videos that came out. A lot of people were accusing them of some like thievery, just like taking a lot of the money that they'd made, just running away with it. And it turns out that the company actually just ran out of money, and they had no choice but to stop working on it. But they had just recently gotten picked up by an actual developer within this last year, and the wheels are back on the bus, as it were, and it has been very phenomenal. Very Battlefield 3 vibey. It has the whole the backpack function, kind of like how Battlefield 2042 has throw mods on the fly while you're in game, which is really fun. It's just a lot of fun. It feels like classic open world multiplayer games, or open map multiplayer games, I should say. Excuse me. The gunplay is really cool. There's a lot of things you could do. You can change out all sorts of stuff on your kits, your armors, ammos, weapon attachments. It's just it seems like there's just going to be endless possibilities within the game and play style. And I've been playing a lot of that. And we've also been doing some Insurgency Sandstorm with the homies. We dusted that one off, and we've been having a ball doing it, playing some of the modded Insurgency. And yeah, those have been like my big three here for the past couple of weeks: is Tarkov World War III and Insurgency. I would want to play more 2042, but we'll talk about why that's not really a thing as much
Yeah,
here in a little bit.
yeah, we'll definitely get into that a little bit. Myself, honestly, I'm a dad of a toddler that works from home, so I basically only get to play one game at a time. So I've just been playing a lot of 2042, sort of refining what is my overall thought on the game so far, and sort of learning the ins and outs of how to play this one. I'm a big Battlefield guy, and I will play a Battlefield into the ground until it no longer is a thing. Um, and that's sort of what I expected to do with this one, but with a bigger group of people to play it with. But then it sort of fell flat for a lot of people, and we'll get into why we sort of understand where those people are coming from, but also sort of don't at the same time because I think there's a lot of people missing a lot of things that they might actually enjoy. Um, Again, we are always, as always, we are sponsored by shopcallforfire.com,
Dot
the one
com.
and only. If you're looking for cool veteran gear that's not going to make you look like a douchebag, make sure you check us out at shopcallforfire.com. It's all designed by yours truly. Um, we have a lot of fun working on it. We have a lot of fun making all the memes, coming up with all the communities focused things that we do, and also all the fundraising stuff that we do with our partners. Make sure you come check us out at shopcallforfire.com. Take a look around the site. Make sure you check it out. You're gonna find something cool. You're gonna have something that you're gonna really fall in love with because I know because I made it. That's how I know.
Clay
Um,
knows. He knows it.
Stevie, so I think we should just cut, sort of give people the structure that we're going to be talking about this game. So
Uh-huh.
we're going to dig in with.
Actually, before you do that, let's all remember one thing too. Aaron and I were over the moon for this game.
Mhm.
Completely over the moon for this game. And it's exactly as the title says. This is an honest review. So, with that being said, Aaron is going to say our structure. Because my thing is this: I don't want somebody to go back and clip the previous video. You guys were so excited for it.
Oh,
Yes, yes, 100% yes.
so excited! We were so hyped for this game. All of the things that we saw in the trailers, all of the things that we saw in the gameplay trailers,
We read. It's just yeah.
all the stuff that they kind of drip fed us over
Mm-hmm.
the launch window of this game definitely had us pretty hype. And I I'm not gonna lie, I bought in the first second that I was able to pre-order the game, and I bought the biggest version
Mm-hmm.
that they had. I didn't care. I was
Bought the biggest ham at the counter.
I was in on a modern esque Battlefield game, and I still stick to that as a
Yep,
thing.
same, same.
And we're gonna get into why that is. So the method that we're gonna use to talk about this game
Can't go
tonight
for this.
is we're going to talk about three things that we really do enjoy about this game, and we're going to talk about three things that we really don't really enjoy about this game. And some of those are going to outweigh others, and that is going to be pretty evident in how the conversation ends up going. So, um, it's going to be three things that we like, three things that we don't. So, to start us off, I think it's important to jump in and sort of talk about the number one thing that we actually do like is Portal.
Yes.
Portal mode is absolutely incredible. It's so much fun to play all of the old games that they've not remastered, but given us reimagined versions of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all of the stuff that is being done by the community in Portal. The weekly updates to the playlist, like the official game modes that they're launching every week for people to play.
Mm-hmm.
The current one I don't really give a damn about is Snipers and Knives. I don't want to play that. That sounds terrible
Nope.
to me. I will
Nope.
go play
Not
something
fun.
else, and that's what I've been doing. Um, but I know that you've had a similar reaction to Portal. I think
Yeah.
the first thing you did was jump into Portal as well.
Exactly. That was you. That was the first thing that I did. I knew Hazard Zone was going to be a lot of fun, but I knew that was going to be something I wanted to do with friends. So I jumped into Portal because I knew that was something I'd jump in solo mode and have fun with, and that's exactly as it went. I jumped into Portal, and the first thing I did was did a Bad Company 2 map, and I was beyond happy when I was doing that because the Battlefield games have always been a cornerstone of my gaming and my nerd experience. I've absolutely loved them. Bad Company and Bad Company 2 were still among some of my top games there that I was able to jump in and play, and being able to jump back into them again with a modern engine, as it were, behind it was great. And I play the hell out of it, still play the hell out of it. Portal mode, well done. That's a big attaboy there. That the to dice on that one. Portal, outstanding.
Yeah, and to my history with Battlefield. Obviously, we all have seen how much I talk about Battlefield 3. I've talked about it in past episodes of This Week in Gaming as we learn more and more about this game and learned actually what Portal was bringing to the table. The fact that I was getting Battlefield 3 back in some fashion was basically the whole reason for me to get this game. I played that the very first thing that I picked up the very first thing when the game launched. I played Portal, Battlefield 3, and I was completely happy with everything that I decided to do with this game, including buying the giant version that I did. Um, and then to see some of the other stuff like Battlefield Bad Company 2, I didn't play that when it was back in the day. I played a bunch of the um, game modes that they've had on Portal right now is Rush. I played a bunch of that so far and
Uh,
had a blast. I didn't play those back in the day, so having access to those maps and that mode now has been a lot of fun for me, and I've genuinely enjoyed just jumping into the randomness of playing a Rush map or playing some of that old Bad Company stuff. And the like the first week we had the Fiesta mode, which was actually
yeah,
a lot of fun to play. I had a lot of fun with that. Um, and then we get into stuff that's just plain weird. The community games that are coming from this already have been just a blast to play. Like I played some zombie modes. I played a red light, green light, stop and go.
you told me about that.
Where you move on green, you only have a knife, it goes to red, and a weapon pops in your hands, and you're supposed to try and kill the other players. And they're illuminated, so you're basically playing. You're playing the game to play the game, right? Like you're playing against the game to also play the game.
Mm.
It was a lot of fun, and it was a very innovative way to play first person shooter, and I am excited to see more and more stuff to come from that.
For all you
Um,
Halo heads out there, infected mode.
Yeah, infected mode is totally a thing.
Infected mode.
And then there's just straight up zombie modes where like it's just
Uh-huh.
everybody else is a zombie and they're trying to kill you and you have to try and kill as many of them as you can. There's just so many different modes that are popping up uh from all of the community stuff and I'm just excited. And like they posted a picture of somebody made a flying game
The
where you
squirrel
fly through
flying squirrel
squirrel.
simulator. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's completely insane. That's a
Uh-huh.
completely nuts thing to have in this game, but, like, somebody is definitely going to make a racing game in this. That's all that means. Like, somebody's
Well,
going to figure out how to make a racing game.
they this past update they had put in that they had like a like a combat vehicles mode where it's kind of like how Call of Duty did the armored quads where it was the war zone but you had like the vehicles
Yeah,
that you're able to fight in combat. They have that in there. The other the other thing that I just going back with the community deal with that is that it seems as if the one thing that they do very well is I know the one thing that one of my biggest complaints with COD is that they have these events that come out and they're just so cool and they're so fun and it's like yeah enjoy it, it's only going to be here for 10 minutes so if you don't play it too bad nerd, that's it. And it's like
yep,
why this was so much fun, why wouldn't you just leave it? The one thing that Battlefield does consistently when these modes come in or they have these modes come out, they leave them and they're like we're going to leave it, and if it doesn't play then it just goes off and dies somewhere like a wounded animal, and even if it's not the most popular, you can still go mess around with it and play with it. It's communities, good communities for you could have a good community for a bad game. A game that is just not the best game, it's not the prettiest game, the most polished game, none of that. But you could have a good community behind it that appreciates it and they do something rad, like develop a cool mode or a mod that makes it better or something. And that's the one thing why I love about modding and community gameplay. And it is just absolutely phenomenal to see the mod effort that is going into from the community into this game so far. Like it's just so rad. You would send me the thing about the flying one, and I was like, somebody just made that up and did it. You're like, yeah, someone just did that. I was like, that's amazing. Like that's cool. Like, hey, here's this thing. The squirrel suits are awesome. Let's do a racing mode with it. Like, what?
yeah.
Seriously? You're
Like,
gonna let us do that? That's incredible.
and that's just another thing that exists in the lexicon of Portal at this point, and like, and people will build off of that. That's the best part is like this is now something that will take on a life of its own and create new modes that we wouldn't have thought of to do. Uh, on our own, or like the dice developers wouldn't have thought to make, and that will reinforce how much better this game can get over time. And I think that's the key to what we are seeing with this game, is that it is going to be very good.
Uh-huh.
It is going to be a very good game.
The
It's
portal, yeah, the portal mode is one of the. This is talk about the things that we enjoy. The portal mode, in my opinion, too, it's ballsy. It's ballsy because they're like, you know, let's see how it look. Let's have, let's bring these things back. I mean, we've seen other franchises try to, in a sense, go backwards with their content and with their games, and it just
yeah,
hasn't gone well. Battlefield was a proponent of that. They did the Battlefield 1, which, was cool, but it didn't track as well as it could have. Battlefield, 5, it didn't start getting its footing until the end, and then once they finally got it, they just said, "Okay, we're done," and just gave up on it. And it's like it's always hard to kind of take a step back with things, but even though the content is taking a step back, it's taking a step back as far as like timeline goes. The actual application of it is great. It is just super awesome. Battlefield Portal has been nothing short of what we expected it to be, if not a little bit more, with everything that's coming from the community as well, which
yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the more lasting pieces of the puzzle that is 2042 in general. I think Portal is going to be huge in keeping people coming back constantly to see what is being developed and what Dice themselves are pushing out. So I
Uh,
just fucking big kudos to them for just even doing this, because yeah, like you said, we've seen other franchises try and do a mode, like a creator mode in general.
uh,
And that's typically where we get those, interesting new game modes. That's where we get them. That's where we got Griffball. That's where we get um, the vehicle soccer of what Battlefield 2042 is going to have. Like that's where we're going to get it, and it's not gonna be um, done by the developer. It's going to be done by the community. So I'm very happy to see Portal, and looking forward to see what
mhm,
what else comes out
100%.
from it. So number two on what our likes from Battlefield 2042, Hazard Zone, Hazard Zone,
Mm,
Hazard Zone.
mhm,
The
mhm,
the
mm,
Tarkov raid style game, light arcade version of Hunt Showdown and all of that. So we are all big fans of raid style games at this point.
big.
In the Discord verse of Call for Fire, uh, raid style games are a big hit. We've talked
Uh-huh.
about the Cycle. We've played Hunt. We've played a lot of Tarkov.
Yep.
Um, you've played even more of these games. I played Scavengers, because it was that style of game. Like these games are just continue to impress with how intense they can be and how different
Uh-huh.
they can be. And I think Hazard Zone has done something to not completely rip off, and also do something a little bit fun that works within the structure of Battlefield. So um, I've had a blast playing Hazard Zone. This style of like arcadey raid just works for me, and it
Uh-huh.
doesn't
Yep.
make me feel like I've wasted a ton of time, but also rewards me pretty effectively,
Yeah.
for spending some time and learning how to effectively extract. So
Yep.
I'm a big fan. I'm very happy to keep running on Hazard Zone as long as I have a
Oh
team.
yeah. Oh yeah. 100%, dude. It's Hazard Zone was another Hazard Zone was another one of those game modes or one of those items to pop up and go, okay, let's do let's try to do something different, I mean, again, this was something that a lot of franchises, game multiplayer gaming franchises are trying to do, the whole battle royale, that whole shtick that has been made popular. I mean, the battle royale the whole idea of battle royale, the first one that it came out with, the original one was, for me at least, as far as gaming goes, it was PUBG. That was the first battle royale that I was introduced to,
Mhm.
and I got heavy into battle royale, into PUBG and battle royale, probably within like a month or so of like coming back to PC gaming. I was always a big console player just because of like money and time and all that. And then I got into PC gaming again, and that was one that I really jumped into way before I was streaming. And I played the hell out of PUBG probably for about 6 months, maybe less, before I heard that Call of Duty was planning on doing a battle royale, as well as Battlefield 5, doing their Firestorm. And I was really excited when I heard that. I was like, wow, it's going to be cool. That's going to be great. Most of you already know when Firestorm
Mm.
came out, it was received um, meh,
Less than poorly.
meh. I will say meh, and the only reason I'm saying meh is because shortly then thereafter, it was told to go somewhere and never come back. It was completely thrashed, totally hated on. It was not not at all what anybody expected it to be, and that was kind of the first of many items of let's try to do battle royale outings that a lot of companies had tried to do, and it didn't go well for a lot of them. Like I said, Dice was definitely one of those companies with Firestorm, and then they said, let's try. I would have paid money to be in that meeting when someone said, should we try to do another one? I'm curious to see if he got fired or if maybe they just threw him out the office window right away because
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. It's like what is it? Was it Wayne's World where he's getting ready to play Stairway and there's a sign like no
No
Stairway to
stairway.
Heaven, and there's like a sign no Firestorm, no Battle Royale in like the Dice meeting room, and somebody said it and everybody just but it was ballsy of them to try Hazard Zone because it's awesome. It is absolutely awesome. And I know there was kind of a long roundabout way to come around to saying that, but I think a lot of people forget that, there for a point in time, everybody talked about doing battle royales and how battle royales were, and now everybody's kind of seemingly trying to take a step back from that, and you're getting more of the raid style games instead. So you're getting more games like Hunt, like Tarkov. So you look at games like Cycle, Scavengers. Um, there's another one that they're thinking about that I had seen. About I can't remember who was wanting to do it though, but it was going to be like it was like a zombie survival, but it was going to play exactly like Tarkov,
Mm.
essentially,
Mhm.
just like how that whole thing goes, but it's just going to have zombies in it. So I have to remember it, but it seems like a lot of people are enjoying the raid style games, and I think that's great because yeah, I'm a huge supporter and a huge player of the raid style PvP. I call it the thrill of the fill, which really sounds weird when I say it out loud like that for a
Yeah.
second time.
Yeah, it's a little.
I said the thrill of filling your pockets, stuffing your bag full of loot, getting what you can, and then trying to get out. For me, that's what that means. Just hurry, get what you can, get out and go. Woo! That anytime you see the Tarkov stance where somebody's playing it and they're just, you could build a house of cards on somebody's spine playing Escape from Tarkov when they're in the zone. They're just not moving, and it's just. But the minute they extract, it's, whoo, man, the just the relaxed, the slump, just oh my god, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that unease and that tension and that thrill of just like, oh, this could be it. We could do something really dope or something really bad. Could like, I enjoy that a lot. The risk reward, it's so fun. And I think if it's done right, there are a lot of franchises out there that could do something similar. And I think Dice did a good job with this to show, hey, we've got, awesome gunplay, we've got cool environments, we've got a badass engine, and our gameplay is pretty solid for, what people like to do. We could take all of those items right there and then just maybe shrink it down a little bit and throw it into something a little riskier, because you still do. It's not the same as Tarkov or Cycle, but you still could, lose what you try to invest into a game of Hazard Zone. And I think
Mhm.
that's rad.
Yeah.
That
It
is so rad.
They've definitely simplified down the risk reward to resource, which I think
Yep.
works. I think it's not as intense, right? Like you're not going
No.
to lose your mind if you lose your gun because you just spent money on it and you're going to lose it at the end of the match anyway. Um, it's just about making the money out on the way back out, right? Like that's what you're trying to
Uh,
do in this. If you don't do that, then you have lost, right?
right.
Um, and especially when you start really collecting up all the data drives and stuff, and then it gets a little heated, and then you become a target in in
Yeah.
this. Um, I do think they did a really good job. I think they have come up with something that's a little innovative and a little fun, and I mean a lot of fun. Like we've had some seriously fun games when we played the other week, I think it was. We were playing some Hazard Zone on stream
Uh,
and just running through the teams, like just going hard. And it was a
yeah.
blast. Like started to learn the mode and started to learn what we needed to do and what we're looking to do. And once you start like really clicking, like you really start to have a lot of fun with Hazard Zone.
I
Um,
definitely think a lot of people that haven't played Hunt Showdown or Escape from Tarkov, I think people that haven't dipped their toes into that heavy duty PvP pool yet.
mhm,
I definitely think they're at a bit of a disadvantage when they were first starting out because they didn't really get it. For us, it's just it's like a different football game. Same pads and helmet, just different football game.
yeah,
We're just doing something we've done 100 times, 1,000 times before. We're just doing it in a different game. But there were a lot of people that I knew, like a lot of my buddies that play on consoles. A lot of my buddies that play on consoles, this was their first outing and take on something like this, and they were very shocked because they're like, dude, like that was insane. Like, is this what Tarkov is like? And I'm like, yeah, I was like that meme.
it's
Yes, but not really.
it's
Um,
getting there.
it's
It's
getting
almost there.
yes, but not really.
Yeah,
And it's just super fun, and it's a really nice. It's just a really it's a really nice spin on the concept, and it's been fun to play it. It's been fun to play with people that aren't familiar with those types of games, but it's also fun to play it with people that you are familiar with. Like being able to jump into a game like this you know, with Aaron, with Cam, guys like Harbinger, people that, we have a lot of raids from Tarkov and, especially Cycle when it came out and Hunt. It's like, all right, well, let's see how this one is. It's kind of like it's you know, it's refreshing, even though it's something we've done way, 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 way too much.
right.
We're doing it with something new, and it's refreshing. And I think that's what's really nice about it is that even though it's something we're super familiar with, it does feel refreshing to play it, and I really like that a lot.
Yeah, and I think and playing it in a battlefield, um, that gunplay is just different. It's just the battlefield gunplay is just different
Always been
than the
different.
other games. Like
Always
it
been
just
different, which has been
feels
phenomenal.
it just has a different feel, a different speed. And this one, I mean, it has punched up the speed just a little bit, but they pulled it back from what that beta was,
Yep.
and that I think it's zoning in on just right
Um,
at this point. Um, yeah,
they're cooking it to perfection.
I think we're onto something fun with Hazard Zone, and I'm interested to see if there's any tweaks that they do to the overall structure of it, and see
Polishing or something.
yeah, see if there's something that they end up adding to it or removing, and not removing, but definitely seeing if there's any additions that start happening, like battle pickups or anything like that that end up in the game. I not that I know if that's even possible with the way that the game is coded, but it would be cool to see if there's something that comes from it. Um, to speak to the battle pickups thing, what I would like to talk about for number three is the on the fly weapon mods have really ended up working for this game. I am very excited to say that it just works. It's just fun and it has really added something that I didn't actually know was missing from my experience in these giant maps. I've always been a Battlefield player and I've always understood that if I wanted to change something, I needed to go die in order to go do it. And now that doesn't actually have to be such a painful experience to, make a difference on the battlefield. Um, I was worried that it would be weird. It just isn't. It's just something that kind of works for me, and I have had a lot of fun kind of messing around and changing stuff up as I need to. The yesterday I was playing, and I was able to swap between my foregrip to a bipod on my machine gun because I was on the move for one moment, and then the next I needed to lay down some suppressing fire, so I just popped on the bipod and laid down, and it went smoothly, and was able to actually make an effective transition from one style of attack to another, and it made me more effective in the game. And because I was thinking to do that, it happened, and I was able to start actually changing the battlefield as I needed to.
That
So,
adaptive play is always extremely interesting. That Battlefield brings to the table, even before like the weapons modding that they were able to do. The best part about Battlefield is that it has always given you the it's always given you the option uh to play how you see fit.
right.
And now with the backpack, it definitely seems like they have taken that same concept and just ramped it up way more than it already was. And I think that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome that they've been able to do that. You know, they took an idea for some crazy innovation, and it's kind of like, oh, you sons of bitches, you did it. You made it happen, you know? It's
You
great.
actually did it.
Oh my god, you crazy son of a bitch. You actually did it, you know? And insert the Jeff Goldblum meme somewhere over here, you know. And that's exactly what happened. And that's so cool that they were able to do that. And it's good. And yeah, it just works, and it works exactly how it's supposed to, and it just brings a lot of life into, another Battlefield game, because there's a lot of people were, it's another big multiplayer, Battlefield game, sure. But oh wait, you can blank blank and blank, and that's awesome that they did it.
Yeah, and I, with how big these maps end up being, like sometimes you're just like, all right, well, there's a lot of space between me and the next objective. Like I might need a little bit better of an optic in order to actually effectively get there, and not just get my ass handed to me because I'm running a red dot. So like having that ability to swap has been huge. And yeah, and like I can't say much more than like it works, and I was just surprised, and being able to like pick out the things that I want to put in my kit so that I have to make decisions before I get into the game or before I
Uh-huh.
jump, before, because you can make those changes on the fly during a game as well. You can customize the weapon so you have the things that you want to go into the match with, um, even while you're in the middle of a game. Like you can change that up. So every life you can change what you're bringing, what your kit is, and that's great. When we first heard about it, I was kind of wondering if you would have that ability in general, or
Uh-huh.
if it was just going to be like, oh, you have like these four things that you can put on your weapon, and that's it. But no, they gave us the full complement of what battlefield attachments are expected to be, and then you have the ability to start sort of mess with those as you're going through the game. So it's something that I was interested in. Didn't know if I would use it, but I use it all the time now. So big kudos to them to bring this functionality to Battlefield because I think it was something that was missing and I didn't really know it. Um, so now we have to get to move on to the less fun parts of talking about this game, and that comes with the things that we don't actually like, the things that we're not having fun with, the things that are actually kind of a pain in the ass. Number one being, and this is a big one for a lot of people, are the bugs. The bugs, the bugs, the bugs, them goddamn bugs.
Uh-huh.
Somebody call Starship Troopers. We need a fucking bug hunt. Uh,
Well,
they're
wasn't it?
pretty. There's some pretty bad ones still. The main one that I've run into, and I'm running on PC, with a pretty solid PC. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it does the job. The only one that I'm really running into that is kind of like game breaking pain in the ass once in a while, but definitely running into it is the shooting and not being able to hit the target even if there's clear line of sight. And that one happens for me probably every other game. At least one moment where that starts to happen. I'm not 100% certain if it's happening in multiplayer games because the matches are a little bit more crazy, but they definitely happen to me when I'm in the AI matches, just kind of doing a little gun runs. Um, so that's the biggest one for me that is sort of killing it. Uh, Stevie, I know you've had a lot more issues with bugs and issues with the game in general running on your PC and some of the things that are happening on your side. If you want to
Yeah.
jump into that a
So
little.
I I'm in a not I don't want to say a minority of it because it's happening to a decent amount, but it seems like I don't know if people are just overlooking it and saying that it's not happening because it is, but there is a horrible bottlenecking issue that is happening where a lot of people's CPUs are being overutilized rather than their graphics card, their GPU, for Battlefield 2042. I'm one of those people.
Hmm.
I have a very, very good computer. It's not a total monster, but I got a 1080 Ti that is gonna run and crank out until the end of the world, and it's gonna keep doing what I need to do. But I've got a good rig. I'm able to stream and game all sorts of other games at high quality and not really have any issues, which is good. But I am having an awful bottlenecking issue right now with Battlefield 2042, where my CPU is working overtime and my graphics card isn't really being utilized at all.
Mm,
And that is painful because the CPU is your heart and soul of your computer. And when I'm trying to stream and play, which is what I do most of the time anyway, I am unable to play 2042, the main game 2042. I can play the hell out of Portal and I can play the hell out of Hazard Zone, no problem. Those are smaller scaled games as far as like your number of players and what you're doing. But when I try to play the main 2042 All Out Warfare, the game just doesn't run well for me at all. And the night that I figured out what that was a pretty heartbreaking moment because I felt like I was missing out on a lot.
right.
Especially, like Hazard Zone, I'll play the hell out of that. I'll play the hell out of Portal. But, the big meat and potatoes of 2042 is the all out warfare and being able to play on these big, massive maps and do all these crazy things that you're seeing Aaron do above right now, and I'm not able to partake in that as much because of this bug that they've got going on. Now, there's a ton of other bugs that are also happening in the game. You have the optic blur that they're trying to have effects where, your optic blurs around and it's making you completely miss your shots even though the optic is on. Um, there's a lot of matchmaking bugs, being able to play with your friends, people's weapons not having the attachments that they had selected out of their backpack. um the vehicles like spawning in, trying to have a vehicle spawn in, and it like just stays up in the sky or goes through the map. I mean, yeah, there's a ton, but you know the biggest, like I said, the biggest one for me is just the bottlenecking because it's like I checked it out. I had nothing going at one point when I was playing, and I wasn't streaming or anything, and even playing the core 2042 by myself and just check it out. Like I say, single player, just like me not playing with anybody. My CPU was still sitting at like 98% usage. Wasn't even streaming. Had nothing else going on. The only thing that we're running was uh, Origin, just because that's what I launched it through, and then the game, and it just horrible bottleneck issue, and that's a big thing that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're kind of dragging their feet and trying to address it, which is annoying, but
To
it's
that point where it's like they have mentioned this in the patch notes that they launched today. They have not fixed it yet, but they have talked about it and have recognized that it is an issue. I do want to take a quick second to say thank you to Blue Echo for subscribing yet again for 9 months now. This
Woo!
is 9 months now for Blue Echo. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. And yes, I do draw all of that stuff on Droids and Villains, the IG page for my art and nerd stuff. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go to at Droids and Villains on Instagram or uh, Facebook or Twitter right now. Soon enough, we'll be on fucking TikTok. So make sure you stay tuned. Um,
Ooh. Ooh.
yeah, so they have talked about the issue with the CPU and uh, it sucks. It sucks that they haven't fixed it yet. I think that is probably the biggest of all of the bugs because now you have people that actually don't care about the small bugs like we do. Like we don't care that like oh the vehicle dropped through the map. Whoops, that sucks. Oh well, there's a clipping issue there, I guess. Maybe they'll fix that one in the next patch. You know, that's not a game breaker for us. But when you can't
Right.
physically play the game the way that it's supposed to be played, like that sucks. Um,
Uh-huh.
because of a problem with the way that it's actually coded at the moment.
Yep.
That's hard. That's hard to say like, yeah, okay, yeah, people should definitely get this game. Right? Like it's
Especially if it's, in the situation that I'm in, not talking about woe is me or anything, but my, streaming is my main. That's what I do when I play. If I'm playing a game, very rarely am I playing a game where I'm not streaming it, just because that's
yeah,
just how my
that's
time. That's just how my time sits,
and a lot of
and
people
it's
want to stream games that they are playing. Like that's just something that
yeah,
they want
and,
to do.
and it's just
So,
hard because I'm at the point where it's like, I could do, like I said, I could do Portal, I could do Hazard Zone, and I'm enjoying that, but a lot of the people that I play with, the majority of them don't play as much Tarkov or as much Hunt, or they don't play those raid type games. So it kind of gets a little old for them. Whereas for me, I play it all day.
yeah.
So then it's like, well, let's go play 2042. And I'm like, well, shit, now I can't because I have this weird bottlenecking bug where I am unable to do this. It won't let me do both. And I'm not going to be like, all right, guys, I've only streamed for 45 minutes and we've done Hazard Zone and Portal, but now we're going to do 2042. So I'm just going to end stream and go do that. Like
Yeah.
I can't do that. And it just, it's just one of those things where it's like, once the bug gets fixed, I'll be doing more of it. But until
Yeah.
then, I'm splitting my time between some of the other games that are just running a little better for me. And, you know, I'm still playing it when I can, off
Yeah.
stream and hanging, but,
But then
you
you
know,
also have people that just aren't going to have a good enough computer to actually run the game when it has this bottlenecking issue at all. Like
Mhm.
it's not going to be a thing. So,
Yep.
I mean, overall, like we expect bugs, right? Like you
Yeah,
expect
no.
bugs from a giant game like this, like a massively multiplayer first-person shooter
Yep.
with this much going on. Like you just expect bugs in the first couple months. Like they're gonna get ironed out. I'm not worried about those. I'm worried about the ones that like are actual problems to actually play the game. So like if
Mhm.
you're not able to log into the servers, if you're not like the stuff that was happening sort of early in the early access stuff that people continue to harp on this late, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was game breaking and that does suck, but like now it's fixed, so I don't know what you're harping on. The
Yeah.
the hate has become meme, which is I
Yeah.
I get frustration with a developer releasing a game that you believe isn't complete, but that is just what's been happening in the age of COVID. So I don't fully understand where people are going with completely hating on a game and like wanting to see it fail, because then we're just not going to get these games again. That just is what
Right.
happens. So um, uh, I think we can at this point we can effectively move on. We've covered the things that like yeah the bugs suck, and there are a couple of bugs that are actually not great. They're not going to be helpful moving forward with the game that we want to play. Um,
uh,
but the one of the core things that I have an issue with, my number two, and I know that you don't have a whole lot of experience on because of what we just talked about, is that the 2042 maps just feel a little flat. So we
oh
have
no,
our
I do have a little bit with that. Like I said, I've played it offline and I've
right.
enjoyed it
Okay.
there. And yeah, it doesn't it the gameplay feels very Battlefield like at its moments when it should. But then it's like the downtime where you're moving or where you're shifting around or where you're trying to do something else. The maps definitely don't they're not hitting the same as they should be being a Battlefield game.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah. They feel
Look
amorphous.
great. Look great.
They feel a little empty. They feel a little flat.
Yeah.
There's just, I mean, there's obviously there's cover. There's like big sweeping dunes for you to hide behind. It just ends up feeling a little sterile and not like a battlefield map as much as it feels like just a giant swath of land, right? Um, I think the ones that do feel good are the ones that have a little bit more structure to the cutouts in them, like
Mhm.
where you can actually go versus where you can't go. Um,
Yep.
so like the shipping yard map feels fantastic. That's the only one that I'm like, yes, that's a battlefield map right there. That
Yep.
map is fantastic. I have so much fun on that map. But then I play like the ice map here. I'm like, all right, it's kind of just all big and flat. And I mean, this is on breakthrough, obviously, so it's a little bit different. But
Right.
um, I play this. I'm kind of bored. I play the Doha map. I'm extremely bored. I don't. I mean, the fights are fun, but the map itself isn't creating the fights that you're expecting to see in a Battlefield game. I I don't feel like these maps are what we were waiting on. I think I want to probably just play some No Shark Canal. If I'm being honest with it, like I would
All
probably
I
just
want to
rather
do.
I'll
That's
I'll
all
take
I want to do.
I'll take 2042 and go play on Battlefield 3 maps, I guess, because that
Yep.
seems more interesting to me. I don't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think there's still room for them to fix this, and I expect that to be the case because we've seen plenty of maps from Battlefield's past where they just get better over time because they figure out what they're doing with the game. Um, I think we even saw that with Battlefield 3. Like, yes, we did
Yeah.
get Caspian Border, and yes, we did get No Shark Canal pretty early, but um, I think we also got Operation Metro, where we had something completely different and intense and crazy. And I think we're gonna continue to see some development from the team on what these maps should and could be with this many players. So I'm interested to see where they go. I'm not impressed with
Yep.
what they've offered so far. I have one good map out of how I don't even know how many maps there are in this game at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many there are. Is what is it like 5 ish?
I'm not. I
Five.
honestly I
I
couldn't
say.
tell you because
I
they all
say.
feel
I
the same.
say ish.
Yeah, I have one that I like, and the rest of them sort of feel the same, and I don't see what we're doing yet. So, um,
Yeah.
the
Sadly.
fights can be fun, and playing on breakthrough, you definitely get more of that. This is the way that we want you to play this map.
Uh-huh.
Where the rest of them, it's a big swath of land, and they are just letting you play sandbox, and it ends up just kind of feeling a little boring. You kind of need those bottlenecks. You kind of need the game to create space that
Yep.
you want to fight over or have space to fight. So um, it's not there yet. I don't think they've done enough with the maps, and I'll be watching to see what they do with season two or whenever the hell they decide to release more maps. So, um, speaking of seasons, uh, the fact that we don't have
Oh yeah.
a
I know.
season pass already, um, is kind of painful. Like I don't quite understand why we haven't seen the season pass yet. We don't even know what it looks like in the
Yep.
game. Like we don't even have like a preview of that tab to go click yet. Um, I don't fully understand when they were planning on releasing it because it's not here yet, and it's kinda pissing me off, to just be fair. Like, I'm playing this game, I'm unlocking a bunch of stuff, I'm getting all the weapons, I get that there's a
Yep.
lot for me to do already. Where the fuck is my season pass? Like, where is it? I want to see it. I want to know that it exists, and I want to be able to plan accordingly and plan to
Accordingly.
unlock all of the stuff that's going to have in it. Um, but also to the same point, why is there no just progression, character level progression page for me to look at so I know what is coming next instead of having to dig through 1,000 different tabs and 1,000 different weapons to see what is coming up for me to unlock in the next level. I just want to know. It just helps me to plan, okay, do I want to play another game right now? Right? Like, if I know that that one thing that I've been waiting on is coming up, I'm going to find out if I have a progression bar. Without a progression bar, I don't know that it's coming. So, I don't
Yep.
I don't know what they're doing. Season pass would be great. I want to see it. I just need to see a season pass. Like, what are we doing? Stevie, what are we doing?
What? We're waiting for a season pass for one. That's what we're doing. We're waiting for a season pass for one because it's not here yet. And why it's not here yet, I don't know. I don't know why it's not here yet. Maybe they're trying to make sure they fix all their bugs.
Yeah, obviously they need to fix some bugs probably before they launch a season pass,
Yeah.
but it would be nice to see it. I got Speedo McAwesome in the channels. Have they fixed what seem to be the same beginning issues with every Battlefield game the last 10 years? Exactly. So why are we complaining
Why
so
are we
much
still?
about
Yeah,
bugs when we know as Battlefield
we know
veterans
it's
that they
coming.
are coming? And everyone that you talk to, if you are buying a Battlefield game for the first time, you have talked to at least one other person that said Battlefield games are amazing. Just expect the bugs when they first start. Just expect them. You're just going to have them. They're just going to be there. So why do we continue to harp on them? Um, I just yeah I want to see a season pass. I want to see what they're gonna do with that. I'm interested in it. It's not here. I don't have a progression bar. The tabs to find out what is coming next. I have to dig through 1,000 different things. The only way I'm finding out is that it tells me at the end of the match, right? Like that's the only way that I know what's coming up. So uh
If I can't know and you won't tell me, we're in a bad spot.
yeah. And
You need to tell me.
I just yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And
Yeah.
that's to be fair, like these dislikes of things that I dislike about this game so far. Um, the two the battle, the 2042 maps being a little bit meh. The no season pass not being here. That's stretch. Honestly, like I'm still having fun and I'm still unlocking stuff. But the big one is the bugs, the bugs, the bugs. Um, luckily, they are, for me at least, very heavily outweighed by the stuff that we do like. We talked about how much we like Portal. We talked about how much we like Hazard Zone. Um, the new features that they're implementing with the weapon stuff, the on the fly swapping, like that's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of other stuff to like. There's a lot of stuff that you kind of like, not really a fan of. Like I'm not a big fan of how much digging I have to do to get to